Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Happy, Healthy, and Successful, a very powerful summit in which we bring teachers, way showers, leaders, masters around the world to share their experience, their tools, their journey with you, and to inspire you to choose what's next for you. And today we have Joshua Bloom. Thank you, Joshua, for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yourself. Yeah, absolutely.
Say that again. I didn't hear what you said.
Tell us more about yourself. Introduce yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely. So my name is Joshua Bloom, and I help empaths rock their life. And I work with energy workers as well as light workers too. And we are all on a mission to help the world and also function really well. It's not really great when you can't function well. So I teach people how to use their quantum and empath abilities to their benefit rather than being taken over by the overwhelm and fear and so forth that we tend to bump up against in those experiences in life.
Beautiful, very powerful. So you support them in stepping into their own empowerment, recognizing who they are, recognizing the tools, their gifts, and really owning that. I love that. Tell us a little bit about your own journey.
Well, it started many, many years ago, like 20 years ago or so. I was having some issues with anxiety, and I felt really anxious all the time. But it was like it showed up all at once. All of a sudden, boom, now you're anxious. And it wasn't so much like because it wasn't gradual, right? So it was definitely an experience of being in a place where all of a sudden I was anxious. And it got worse and it escalated and it got worse and worse and worse. And I didn't know what to do. So I learned about 20 different healing and transformation modalities to be able to resolve my problem of anxiety. When I did that, I also created something called quantum energy transformation, which was taking all the learning that I learned and adding new elements to it and mixing it all up into a way that would help transformations be fast and easy. And so that was really powerful. Yeah, it was so powerful because I was working at a hypnosis center at the time. And actually, I wasn't really doing hypnosis. I was using this quantum learning that I was learning and teaching and helping people with. And I learned there how powerful the quantum experience or the quantum worldview is. And I started to get results beyond what I thought was possible. So one of my first clients had anxiety just like me. And she came in and she was really, really anxious, and she left not anxious. She was totally feeling amazing in like 40 minutes. And I was really thrilled that we got that result for her. But I went home that day with my anxiety. So that was really, really frustrating because obviously I know things, at least at the time, right? I knew things and I thought that I could be really helpful to myself, but I wasn't able to get to me yet. So then my second client, she had fibromyalgia. And in 4 minutes, she looked at me and said, Joshua, it left my body. Now she had just told me she had this fibromyalgia, which I didn't know what it was until that day when she told me she had it. And because I was new at this at the time. And when she told me this, she also told me it was an incurable syndrome. And I'm sitting there not knowing what to say, that she said it was gone. And so I thought, okay, I don't know if I'm the crazy one or you're the crazy one, but somebody here is the crazy one because you just said it was incurable. And now you say something has changed so dramatically that you don't experience it. That was fantastic and also surprising. But then it kept happening. People were coming to me for all different reasons: migraine headaches, anxiety, depression, pain, all sorts of things. And just like those very fast and easy transformations, I was helping other people also with these fast and easy transformations. And still, I didn't get to me yet. Well, I'm an empath, right? It's all about helping other people. So
Right.
I eventually got to me, and I worked with myself and really did some great things to shift myself into a good place. And I did. And it really shifted really great when I moved from Virginia to Manhattan. And I don't know if it was an energy shift or what happened there, but it definitely was different in New York. So I lived in New York for a while, then moved to New Jersey, which is kind of fun. And during those times, I kept getting stronger and stronger, and I stopped having so much anxiety. I still had it, but I was getting better and better. And then I moved back to New York, and then I stayed there until the pandemic happened. When that happened, I moved to New Jersey, and just like it was 20 years ago, I started to get anxiety again. And I'm like, oh no, I've already been through this. I've been there, done that. This can't yet happen again. So I was very concerned because I didn't know how to stop it. I didn't know, I had lots of tools, and I engaged the tools. And at this point, I got better at working with myself, but I wasn't perfect. I'm my worst client, most difficult client. And so I worked very, very, in a very strong way to transform these big fears that were showing up for me. And I wasn't getting it done. And I was really, really surprised because when I work with other people, boom, we get it done. With me, not as much. So then I was introduced to my spirit guides. And my spirit guides, they told me that I needed to have a pendant and I needed to make one. And I was kind of like, how many pendants I wore? I've tried like every one of them, and they didn't really work for me. And now my spirit guides are telling me, you need this pendant. Well, they taught me how to make this pendant, and I made it, and I put it on, and all of a sudden, everything changed in my life. And what I realized was that I was still having the entity issues. And that's why I was having this anxiety in the first place. And that's what happened 20 years ago. That's what happened again. And so I wore the pendant and the entities stopped attaching to me. And it was like handled. But the pendant did more than that. The pendant raised my trust level so that I wasn't in anxiety anymore. The pendant grounded me. So I felt really strong and secure. The pendant raised my energy frequency. So I felt even more powerful. And so after it worked for me, I shared it with my students. And my students started to have the exact same experiences that I did. They were getting more grounded. They were feeling less anxious and more excited, less overwhelmed, more powerful. Things were changing with them like it did for me. And I'm like, I know, isn't this amazing? I couldn't believe it myself that a pendant would be the resolution. So I talked to my spirit guides because, I'm very vocal with them and say, come on, tell me what's the deal here. Right. And so I said to them, what's the deal? What's really happening here with this pendant and why is that working? And they said, Joshua, we're moving into different times. And you have to remember that we all need tools. You have the quantum energy transformation that you created. That was the one thing that I had. And that was good. It was fantastic. It was creating instant and powerful transformations that most people weren't able to achieve, at least on their own, right? And so that was good. But they said, Joshua, you need this energy because of the energies that are coming in today. And with these new energies, you need something stronger so that you can amplify the magic that's in you. And then I realized tools like a pendant or external tools are okay. Because at the beginning of the experience of this, I'm like, no, we're supposed to have only internal tools. We're supposed to have internal experiences that make the outside wonderful. But what I realized is that amplifying the energies that we have this magic energy within us.
Absolutely.
We're very powerful. And when you amplify that, when you make it bigger and stronger and easier, the anxiety stops, which is what happened for me. The anxiety stops. You don't feel, you're not in your head as much because you're more grounded. You're in your body and you're strong. You're using your magic. You're just getting this amplified and getting some help in doing it.
Absolutely.
And it was a big, big resolution for me and my students. And that's where it brings me to today. So now we use the pendants to help with all sorts of transformations. So my classes, where it would normally take, 15 minutes to do a transformation, now it takes half that, maybe even less time, sometimes only 2 minutes to have a transformation. So these things are happening so fast, and that's amazing now that we have the right tools helping us move forward properly.
Beautiful, beautiful. That sounds very powerful and amazing. I wanted to ask you a little bit more about, I'm sure, because I can pick up on the energy of the questions, and some of the questions that are coming in are, as an empath, sometimes we feel like we have to take everything on, or sometimes we don't even know we're taking everything on, or sometimes we feel like we're in the middle of everything and we can't get out, like we're sort of trapped in, and so talk a little bit about some of the ways that an empath can step into their empowerment, their, really fortify their boundaries, separate, and be able to be in their own energy and their own flow, their own quantum field. So that's the first question that's coming up. And so I want to add this other question before we come in. Entities. I've had many experiences with entities too since I was young. That was a lot of the work that I did, early on, 5-6 years old, where I was being guided by my guides to go in and release spirit from these entities. And still now, it's kind of, like you got to get that done so everything else can happen, right? What else can you share about stepping into freedom and sovereignty, and really embodying who you're meant to be here in the world?
Well, that's a lot. So let's go through that, because that's a very powerful question. And I think it has many answers. So you talked about boundaries. Boundaries are really important for us because we tend to have loose boundaries, and then the loose boundaries end up being a problem later, and then we get ourselves in trouble. So having energetic boundaries is also important. So energetic boundaries tends to have to do with your auric field. And a lot of times people are going into fear and overwhelm, or going into fight or flight. And when that happens, their aura pulls in really tight. And when your aura pulls in, you're sending a message to your brain that says that you are in fear. You are in fight or flight. So it is actually causing you to move blood in your body differently. So the blood moves away from the forebrain into the hindbrain. The blood moves away from the stomach into the arms and legs. And when that happens, we lose our thinking ability, and we also lose our ability to connect. Mm-hmm. So now we're disconnected. Mm-hmm. And when I say disconnected from source, right? We're disconnected in some way from our higher self, from others, from source. And these kinds of disconnected feelings lead to anxiety and depression. Mm-hmm. So what we want to do instead is we want to open our auric field. Mm-hmm. So when you open the auric field really, really big, you just breathe in, push your arms out, and push your aura out. And make sure to do it not just to the sides, but to the front and the back also. When you open up your auric field all around and you fill the room with you're now setting a boundary. And you're also healing your aura at the same time. Mm-hmm. When we pull our aura in, our aura gets holes in it, tears in it. It's unhealthy. When we open our aura out, it strengthens the aura, and it makes the body, your aura become your body's bodyguard. Mm-hmm. Your aura is your body's bodyguard. But if it's pulled in, and a lot of people are still teaching this, is that pulling your aura in is protective. It's not. It's putting you in what Dr. Bruce Lipton says is protection mode. When you're in protection mode, you're on guard. You're in fight or flight. And there in that place, you can't heal or transform. But in the growth place that Dr. Lipton talks about, you're in growth. And in growth, you can heal. Growing, if you're growing, you're moving forward, not on guard, right? So if you're open and your aura is open, you're setting a boundary that says, I am okay. I am good. I am in my power. But a lot of people feel like, oh my, someone might walk by my aura and step into my energy. And then what will happen? Your aura is designed to be strong and open, and anything walking through your energy doesn't affect you or your aura. But imagine this. If you have a hole in your aura because it's closed in, energies are going to affect you and you're going to be off kilter, if not worse than that, because the energy isn't getting stopped at your aura. It's coming into you when your aura is closed in. So keep your aura open and be in your power. And in that place, anything is possible.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So we'll get to the next question, but as you were sharing this, I was thinking about all those clients that you came in to see you that had, something that was impossible to cure, or something that no one else can treat. I want to get into what is the technology that you bring, but also if you can share an experience, meaning like a process with the audience so they can experience that transformation.
Absolutely. So I'll share with you something called being quantum. Notice that the first word is being, right? Being is so important. We tend to be all about strategies. What do I do? How do I do this? In quantum energy transformation, it's not about what and how. It's about who. Who are you being? Who is it possible for you to become? What possibilities are available to you now that you've moved energy? So quantum is the understanding or the science of possibility. When we think about possibility, we also think about the energy that's in the packets of information stored in the cellular structure of your body. What we do in quantum is we move the energy in waves of energy. That's what makes it quantum, because of the quantum waves. So the waves of energy are moving at the cellular level of the body. And when that happens, it creates what I call a quantum shift. That means the energy either moves in your body and becomes something else. We call that a transformation. Or it moves in your body and exits. It leaves your body and it's no longer there. And that's called a release. A transformation happens anyway when you have a release. So either you transform and release, or transform and it just is different inside your body. Either way is a good answer, right? Either way is a good answer. So when your energy is in this place of beingness, we can move energy at the level of the cellular structure to create a fast, if not instant change. So in being quantum, that's the first thing that we do to get our body and energy in alignment with ourselves. We want to be connected to the higher self. We want to be connected and grounded. We want to have high frequency. This exercise does it all. And it's called being quantum. And being quantum has 3 steps to begin with. Now we use steps so that people can get to the energy. But as you learn to do this, you stop with the steps and you just go into the beingness. But to start, we start with steps so everybody can get to that point and you know where you are. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a ball of energy and you're going to put it in your hands. And you can allow this ball of energy to be any color. Maybe you like a golden light, or maybe you like a different color. I like golden light, so let's use that. So take the golden light ball that's in your hands, and I just want you to feel the energy between your hands when you do this. Remember, breathing is good. There you go. And with your hands like this, can you feel them tingling already?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You're going to take that tingly ball now, put it just above your head, and you're going to let it drop into the crown of your head. And let it go down. Just invite it to go down behind the eyes, passing the throat. Breathing is good. Passing the throat, going beyond the chest, down past the upper stomach, the lower stomach, and let it land at the base of your spine. And taking a deep breath. Keeping that beautiful golden ball at the base of your spine, you're going to bring in your higher self. Now, your higher self is probably floating above your head. We're just going to grab the legs of our higher self. Yep. And we're going to bring the legs in. We're going to bring it in just like we did with the ball into the crown until the legs are all the way at your feet. So you're just going to pull that down, let your higher self slide in. There we go. And for some of you, it may be a little bit more difficult because you haven't done this before, but just bring it in. It's fine. It's really going to be easy for you to just allow your higher self to slide into your body, all the way down your body and into your feet. And when your higher self is all the way in your body, all the way down to your feet, your higher self is now inside and not up there anymore. Then what we're going to do is we're going to open up that auric field. Just take your hands and push that auric field open to expand your auric field to the sides and front and back. Good. Just open up that auric field really large. Remember, breathing is good. And now that you're in that experience, in this big energy space, we're going to do one more thing, and we call them candle breaths. So keep your attention where the golden ball is at the base of the spine. And we're going to do a candle breath. So candle breath is when you breathe in and out real hard, as if you're blowing out the candles on a big birthday cake. Okay? So now we're going to do that several times. Let's do 15 candle breaths. Here we go. And just allow yourself to breathe normally now. And now you should feel an energy that's different in your body. You should feel like you're enlivened a bit. You should feel more confident. You should feel like you're taller if you're standing. If not, if you're sitting, you might feel like you're sitting like taller without any difficulty doing so. What do you notice?
Yeah, I do definitely notice it's more expanded. I notice the lightness. Just really lightness overall. Just almost feels like being in this flow. Just like, I mean, I feel like I'm flowing, suspended, like I'm just being held.
Excellent.
That's beautiful.
So this place is where we start to then we want to move energy. So now we've just prepared the body to be in this place that feels a little bit more outrageous, a little bit more confident and awesome. And when you're in that place, then you can move energy in the cells to create a change. Now, I'll give you an example. I've worked with women who have been raped. Horrible, horrible thing. And it's horrible, especially because they stopped going out. They live inside their home and they never do anything or go anywhere. And they have anxiety all the time. However, in one session, I've done it several times with many women who have been raped. What I've been able to do is, without them having to relive it, because obviously that's a terrible thing to have to relive it, we're able to move the energy while they're in this like amazing, great place. We got them into their strength, and then they move the energy. And then after the energy has been moved, they start going outside. They start enjoying their life again. They stop being limited, and they start getting a little bit more outrageous in their life and having a good time again. Even though they had that really, really horrible experience
Mhm.
This process works fast to give you your life back.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So you're walking them through a process where they can be more themselves. So the being quantum. And
Absolutely. Being
embodying,
quantum is like being you, right? It's like a
right,
real you.
right. And then owning that power, and through that empowerment, then shifting what is no longer there. So what no longer in alignment with that higher frequency and vibration.
Exactly.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. Let's talk a little bit about the technology in your pendant. What is, I'm sure people are thinking, oh yeah, like you said, I've tried this, I've tried that, I wore that already. What's different?
Well, what's different about this pendant? It is all crystalline energy.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of pendants out there have metal on them, and they're just different, right? They have a different energy to them. This is crystalline energy, and crystals are a very, very powerful tool when used in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a lot of crystal healing in my career, and I really didn't notice much, to be honest with you. You lay on the ground, then you put some nice crystals there, maybe on your third eye, all different crystal things, and not much really happened with that. So that's why I was skeptical myself when my spirit guide said, "Joshua, you should do this," and I'm like, "Really?" So I listened to them because I figured that they had something to share that maybe I didn't know, and I'm open to it, and so I made this pendant. And we first start out with selenite. And selenite is a self-clearing crystal. It clears itself. You never, ever have to clear it. Mm-hmm. So the benefit of all of these stones being on the selenite is that you never have to clear this, because it's always being cleared by the selenite.
Beautiful.
Isn't that nice?
Yes.
The selenite also brings you into the divine. So it feels good, especially when it hangs around your thymus and heart chakra area, right? So now it's opening up your heart chakra and making you feel amazing.
Beautiful.
I love that, right? It also has the black tourmaline at the top here, the black tourmaline. The black tourmaline is so important because the black tourmaline, what it does is it protects you from negative forces like entities. So kind of cool. So then we have the red spinel. Mm-hmm. And the red spinel, what it does is it takes fear away. That's just amazing. Mm-hmm. It really takes fear away. And that's important because if we're holding on to fear, it's a very, very difficult way to live our lives. I know I lived it that way myself, in fear all the time. So the pendant in itself, it has these crystals that work in superposition of each other. So none of the crystals are touching. They're all separate. So this becomes a quantum tool. Mm-hmm. So it's really not a pendant as much as it is like a healing wand, right? And it does different things that are really powerful. Like I said before, it grounds you into your body. So the technology of this is very quantum. Mm-hmm. I asked why we had these specific crystals on here, and they told me that it's because you want the pendant to release for you. Mm-hmm. And remember, I told you that I was my most difficult client. Right. So I wasn't releasing for myself as well as I would like. Mm-hmm. But what ended up happening that was remarkable is that when I would get triggered, the pendant would actually release for me. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have to do all the work. I was getting like a helping hand. Mm-hmm. And the reason it was doing that is because the pendant grounds you. It brings your higher self back into your body and puts you into the being quantum simply by wearing it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So then while you're wearing the pendant, you're in this place of beingness. And when you're in the place of beingness, what ends up happening is that if you get triggered while you're in the beingness, the pendant helps you release it. And I started to notice that was happening for me. And I was able to release things that, when you get stuck in the anxiety or stuck in a bad feeling, it's really hard to get out. It was like, boom. I was like, I'm myself again. It just moved the energy so quickly. So the technology is an understanding of how crystals work together and separate in a quantum experience. And they also bring you into what's called the 5D. So it brings you into the 5D energy. Now, of course, we're all moving into 5D as we move into 5D because we're all naturally doing that. And a lot of people are experiencing what's called ascension signs. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
So the pendant also stops you from having ascension signs. So what's really great is that we don't do that. We don't do ascension signs. We also don't do healing crises or anything like that. The pendant stops all that. So you can raise your frequency really high and have no ascension signs as you raise your frequency higher and higher and higher and higher in your life. And that's a good thing because when you have ascension signs, you really are struggling for a period of time to get yourself back into a balance. Right. Sometimes it takes several months, maybe years for people to get into that balance, which is uncomfortable. I know because I've done that, as I mentioned in my story earlier. But now with the pendant, we don't have to have a healing crisis or ascension signs. A healing crisis, how it happens, this is very interesting. How it happens is that you move energy in your body to a point, but you don't move it enough. So the body has to compensate. And it does it for you, but you either get flu symptoms, anxiety, or some other negative reaction to have that occur for you. And then after you go through that negative experience, then you move right back into the positive experience. So, yeah, right. So ascension signs works the same thing. When you are working on raising your frequency and going into these higher frequencies, most people get an ascension sign where they feel usually anxious, but it could be flu symptoms and other things too. When that happens and they get into this place, it's just uncomfortable quite a bit. But you don't have that. We actually go up very, very high in frequency in my classes, and nobody gets any ascension signs in my class. And that's really powerful because you don't have to hurt to heal. You don't have to hurt to reach where you're trying to get to in your life. You can do it with ease, and that's what I'm all about. Fast, easy, simple.
Beautiful. Yes, I love that. Ease and grace is what I always say. Let's just do it. Ease and grace.
Exactly.
Joshua, thank you so much. This has been very informative, and I'm sure the audience has gotten a lot out of it, especially from that process. If anything else that you want to share with the audience?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to say you are very powerful, powerful beyond what you think is even possible. Just remember when you tap into yourself, the answer's inside. When you tap into your beingness, you have the ability to create the life that you choose. You might need to learn how to get there, but you can do it, and it's easy. And that's an interesting thing because a lot of people are struggling and it doesn't seem so easy. I know because I've been in the not easy too. But just remember how powerful you are and you can do this. So I also have a free gift. You can go to iqet.com/Maria. That's iqet.com/Maria. And when you do, I'm going to give you this beautiful, beautiful, what I call a guided connection. I'm going to take you into the 5D. I'm going to take you into your beingness with bringing in the light. We're going to bring in this beautiful light that's going to support you and help you, not in a meditative way, but in a beingness way, in what I call a guided connection. We're going to connect to ourselves. I'm going to guide you to connect to you. When you engage this, wow, you're going to feel amazing. So bringing in the light is going to really help you transform from that beautiful light of beingness, and it will help you become who you're capable of becoming. Amazing, amazing. And if you want to go to my website, you can go to www.beingquantum.com. That's www.being, B-E-I-N-G, quantum, Quantum.com.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you for your very beautiful energy that you brought today. I can't wait to hear more about your success. And the audience, thank you for inspiring and sharing and gifting your process to the audience and the additional gift. Thank you so much. I look forward to further conversations and impacting the world as you do. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for being here. Lots of love. Namaste. Bye for now.
Bye for now.